For the remaining years that I still have yet to talk about, I'll write what I did on a few Instagram posts and maybe talk about each thing separately if I feel like it's worth it or if it's important enough. So starting off with 2018, I wrote, I'm a man that likes to look back on the past. 2018 was a weird fucking year with so much happening that it's hard to just choose only a couple good moments to share. Original Geek Union starting up, the birth of my nephew, Project 2018 that never even happened except the long writing sessions, a week away from home that was well needed, constantly wanted to disappear from the face of the earth, being saved without knowing at the time by having the most amazing person come into my life also without them knowing, and being able to get through days where normally I wouldn't have been able to. Finally moving on from someone that was originally very special to me, or at the very least, gaining the courage to move on. So many good memories in the gaming community, and that's only just to name a few moments that made that year so incredibly weird, in a good way of course. Those days have all gone, but they will forever live on in my memory. The years that followed proved to be extremely difficult for many different reasons. Some I would definitely love to forget. Reasons that hurt, reasons that made me want to never stop being happy. Reasons that made me question things, a roller coaster of emotions. I would never change them for anything. No matter the heartache that you're going through, all the trials, all the tribulations, there's always something or someone worth fighting for, worth living for, worth waking up in the mornings and breathing in the fresh air that Mother Nature gives you for. Live your best life and be the best possible version of yourself that you can be. Blessed. I was struggling, and when I say struggling, I mean struggling. To just get through every day without wanting to just disappear. I was reeling from the breakup of a 6-year relationship. I was still mourning the death of my mother and grandfather 3 years on, so I really wasn't in a good place. With that being said, I actually posted a status on my Facebook saying, need some advice. Is there a quick method to getting over someone, like really quickly? If so, what is it? That post was made on 12th of July 2018. On that day or a couple of days later, I had someone pop up into my DMs giving me some really solid advice. That person was Rian, who has since gone on to become one of the most crucial people in my life and will play a big part in the following years. Rian had told me that, from what I can remember anyways, the best way of moving on from someone is to get rid of many messages, any photos together, and to cut ties with them, which of course I did. It took me a good few days to get through every bit of communication and every media, apart from the odd few photos of Beck and myself from over the 6 years of being together. I actually remember messaging Rian not too long after that saying I took her advice and that it had actually taken me ages to delete them all, to which she just replied with something along the lines of, haha, I'm sorry, or something like that. My memory is a little foggy, but I know it was similar to that. What amused me was how she randomly messaged me while I was visiting my dad, asking me if I was in a town because she had seen someone that looked like me. It was me, of course, which I told her, and she just responded saying something similar to, I knew it was you. I was thinking that guy looked so familiar when I seen you. It was little things like that that I often think back on, and will forever think back on. I didn't know it at the time, but that first initial message from her proved to be the saving moment that I needed in life. The thing that helped me out the most. From the person that I needed most to come into my life. I could finally move on from my breakup and finally grow as a person. However, life from then was far from smooth sailing. My dark days were far from being over. It hasn't ever been a secret to those who knows me on a more personal level that over the course of the last 5 or so years I would find myself falling in love with Rian, which I never even intended to happen. It was because of this that her and myself would fall out on occasions. Never start liking your best friend, children. It never ends well. Despite all my past feelings though, I'm still extremely grateful that Rian is still part of my life to this day. I actually came across a video on TikTok the other day from when I'm writing this, and I feel like it perfectly sums up my friendship with Rian. In the video there was this quote, and it perfectly sums up just how important Rian is to me, and how much I needed her to come into my life at the exact moment that she did. The quote goes, I remember the first time we started talking. You were the reason I got my laugh back, the reason I fell asleep with a smile on my face, the reason I had the motivation to do things again, the reason why my problems doesn't seem so bad. You truly have made my life better by just being in it. Project 2018 went through many phases on what it was actually supposed to be. Originally it was meant to be a show like set of videos for YouTube, then it was a comic, then it ended up as a novel. At one point it even ended up being a voiceover set of drawings for a YouTube video. In the end, however, it never even happened at all. We called it Project 2018 as a placeholder name until we were quote-unquote closer to its release. The actual name of it was Aliens Take Over Earth, and it was purely sci-fi focused. A lot of Star Wars references and references to other popular sci-fi media was done within it. The basic plot was an alien overlord decided to attack Earth, but humans have since become very hybrid with special powers such as healing, speed, their senses being much more stronger than modern day humans. Well, I say the humans, it was more the army that were hybrids. Earth was still populated with basic day-to-day life humans that didn't have that sort of powers. Earth's two most formidable warriors, Blake and Damien, would lead the fight against the Overlord and his army of Greys. Greys were the name that Malcolm, Josh and myself called the alien army. As I write that now, my mind just instantly thinks about the Putty Patrollers from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it's just a hilarious thought. Pretty sure the Greys were just as stupid too. Aliens Take Over Earth had 6 episodes in total, and each episode was action-packed, with a hard-hitting story to go with it. It even had a really interesting story arc to it, that would have the viewer have to think about in order to understand it. Pretty complex stuff. We had plans written down for season 2, but obviously we never did the first season. We would often do stuff like this, write up stories in hopes of recording some footage and making it into some videos. But every time we would do that, we never got to the filming stages. Yet the actual stories were really good. Who knows, maybe someday in the future we will revisit Aliens Take Over Earth and turn it into something worthwhile. Until then though, in the archives of uncompleted stuff, it shall remain.